You are sitting in a cluttered hangar office in northern Mexico, nursing a lukewarm cup of coffee and watching a fly buzz against the grimy window. The heat is thick enough to chew on, and the only sound is the rhythmic clacking of an old floor fan that has been struggling to move the stagnant air for 3 decades. You are checking a stack of weathered maintenance logs, a boring, repetitive task that keeps your heart rate low and your profile lower. To the rest of the world, you are just a washed-out commercial pilot who lost his license to a drinking problem that doesn't actually exist. You are a ghost, a man who faded into the dusty landscape of border town aviation to escape a past in military intelligence that eventually caught up with you. The radio on the desk, a modified shortwave unit that usually only picks up static and local weather reports, emits a sharp three-tone chirp. Your hand freezes over the logbook. That chirp isn't a malfunction. It is a coded handshake from a high-altitude transponder. You wait exactly 5 seconds, then reach over and flick a toggle switch twice. The static clears, and a voice, monotone, clinical, and speaking in perfect, unaccented English, gives you a set of GPS coordinates and a departure time exactly 45 minutes from now. There is no mention of cargo, no mention of pay, and no room for a no. You stand up, the boredom of the morning evaporating and being replaced by the cold, mechanical clarity of an operator. You don't pack a bag, you don't lock the office. You walk out to the strip where a modified Gulfstream G650 sits under a camouflage netting. It is a masterpiece of illegal engineering, fitted with oversized fuel tanks, a radar-absorbent coating that makes it look like a smudge on a screen, and engines tuned to run hot and fast at altitudes that would choke a standard jet. This is your office. This is the only plane in the world capable of moving the forbidden cargo of the global elite without leaving a digital footprint. You are in the cockpit, running through a pre-flight checklist that would make a civilian pilot faint. You aren't checking for safety, you are checking for stealth. You verify the transponder spoofing software is loaded. You ensure the terrain-following radar is calibrated for a low-altitude sprint through the mountain passes of the Sierra Madre. By the time the engines wind to life, a blacked-out SUV is pulled up to the cargo door. 3 men in tactical gear offload a single, heavy crate marked with a diplomatic seal from a country that hasn't officially existed for 10 years. They don't look at you. You don't look at them. The door hisses shut, the stairs retract, and you are rolling down the dirt strip before the dust from your tires is even settled. As you break through the cloud layer and level out at 45,000 feet, the reality of your position begins to settle in. You are the only person trusted to move the items that the world's leaders pretend don't exist. Sometimes it's experimental biotechnology that bypasses every international treaty. Sometimes it's ancient artifacts looted from war zones that are destined for a billionaire's private gallery. Today, the crate in the back feels different. The weight distribution suggests something heavy, perhaps lead-lined. You know better than to check the manifest, because there isn't one. In this job, curiosity is a death sentence. The gray network you fly for is a hierarchy built on absolute silence. You started 5 years ago, hauling high-grade narcotics for a mid-level cartel, but your ability to navigate dead zones and global radar coverage caught the attention of someone much higher up. Now, you're at the apex rank of the transport grid. You don't deal with cartels anymore. You deal with the committee, a shadow group of industrialists and politicians who treat the planet like their personal chessboard. Your pay is deposited in a numbered account in Singapore in the form of gold-backed digital credits. You are rich enough to buy a small island, but you are too valuable to ever be allowed to retire on one. You cross the Atlantic under the cover of a massive storm system, using the lightning and heavy rain to mask your thermal signature. The stress is a constant low-grade hum in the back of your skull. You've learned the hidden rules of this life. Rule 1, never communicate with the ground unless they initiate. Rule 2, if intercepted by a legitimate military, you have exactly 60 seconds to initiate the scuttle sequence, which thermite welds the cargo in the cockpit into a molten heap. You are a delivery man, but you are also a suicide bomber for the secrets of the powerful. The identity change is the most taxing part. When you land at a private strip in the Swiss Alps, you aren't the washed-out pilot from Mexico. You are a corporate executive for a multinational logistics firm with a diplomatic passport and a tailored suit that was waiting for you in the pressurized cargo bay. You step off the plane and hand the keys to a man who looks like a ghost. He gives you a small, encrypted drive, your new coordinates for the return leg. You have 4 hours to sleep in a secure facility that feels more like a high-end prison before the cycle begins again. Power hasn't made you feel superior, it has made you feel paranoid. You look at the world differently now. You see a news report about a missing scientist or a sudden shift in the stock market, and you wonder if it was sitting in the crate behind you 3 days ago. You realize that the entire structure of modern civilization is built on the things you move in the dark. You are not just a pilot, you are the connective tissue of a hidden world. As the years pass, the missions become more frequent and more dangerous. You find yourself flying into active conflict zones, landing on highways under the cover of darkness, and dodging surface-to-air missiles fired by people who don't even know who you are. The moral conflict that used to keep you awake has been replaced with a grim survival instinct. You stop thinking about what's in the crates. You start thinking only about the fuel levels, the radar sweeps, and the cold, hard fact that you are the only one who can do this. You are halfway through a flight over the Pacific when the red line on your console flickers. This is the emergency channel reserved for a total system compromise. A voice you recognize as a high-ranking committee member comes through, but he isn't clinical anymore. He sounds desperate. He tells you that your current destination has been breached by an international task force. He tells you to divert to a secondary location, a remote island in the Philippines that isn't on your pre-approved list. Your internal alarm bells go off. Rerouting mid-flight without a verified handshake is a violation of protocol. You realize that the committee might be fracturing. You have 40 tons of forbidden cargo and a plane that is running out of fuel. If you go to the new coordinates, you might be flying into a trap set by a rival faction. If you stay on your current course, you're flying into the arms of the law. You look out the window at the endless expanse of the dark ocean. You realize that you have become too essential. You know too many routes, too many drop points, and too many faces. The system doesn't need a pilot anymore. It needs to erase the evidence. The diverts, the frantic calls, the broken protocols, it's all a setup to put you in a place where you can be liquidated without a trace. You reach down and flip the cover off the manual override for the transponder. You don't divert to the Philippines. You don't stay on course for the breached destination. You point the nose toward a dead zone in the South Pacific, a place where the radar hasn't reached in decades. You are going to disappear, but not the way they want you to. You have the cargo, you have the plane, and you have the knowledge of every secret route they've ever used. The radio begins to scream with demands and threats, but you reach over and pull the fuse. The cockpit goes silent, illuminated only by the faint green glow of the instruments. You are no longer flying for them. You are flying for yourself, carrying a crate of secrets that could burn the world down if you ever decide to land. The system never lets you leave, but it also never taught you how to stop. You are the only pilot who flies the forbidden cargo, and now the cargo is yours. The flight continues into the darkness, unresolved and untraceable, a ghost plane in a world that doesn't know it's about to be exposed.